Gentlemen, I have a plan for $1 million.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all having a great day. Today's video is going to be all about future legends and how they're getting more and more crazy, and I actually have two perfect examples that I will showcase in this video. Some of you have probably heard me say this in the past, but I have mentioned a couple of times how the future legends are going to get more and more crazy or creative depending on how you look at it, and that's simply because of the fact that every single legend that enters Apex needs to be unique and significant in their own way, meaning eventually you're going to hit a point where unless you go more creative or crazy with the legends and their abilities, well, there simply isn't much else you can do. And with the sheer amount of legends that we have leaked, it's not surprising that we already see two examples of this exact thing happening. So the first example I want to go over is Uplink, and the next one is Scryer. Both of these legends have one ability in particular I really want to cover. Let's go over Uplinks first. His tactical is a shield satellite. Release a satellite that follows allies to regenerate their shields and revive. So once again, those of you that are Lifeline mains are probably not too happy about yet another legend coming into the game that also has a revive ability, except in this case the satellite actually follows them, so there is that. But don't panic, I'm guessing you're probably going to be able to shoot this thing out of the sky, similar to what we see with Crypto's drone. Otherwise, having this thing constantly following your teammate and having the enemy not be able to do anything about it is kind of broken in my opinion. But anyways, let's move on to his ultimate, which is even more broken. So just the name of the ultimate itself is enough to make some people go crazy. Immortality Relay Beacon. Deploy satellite beacon that prevents allies in the signal area from being downed. Now, from the leaked footage, it doesn't actually seem like this thing works because he dies anyways, but here's how I'm assuming it's gonna work in game, and this is also based on what we see up on screen right now. It's clear this thing does not have a very long range. I'm guessing this ability is most useful when you're holding down buildings and not for aggressive pushing, which at least gives me some sense of comfort. Now, I'm assuming the way this ability works is that the lowest amount of HP you can actually get an enemy when they're standing within this radius is 1 HP, and that's it. But you might be thinking, hey, that's still completely overpowered. I'm basically shooting an invincible person while they can still do damage to me. So I think it doesn't just give them invincibility. I believe the ultimate does keep track of how much damage the person has actually taken, meaning that while during the fight the person is actually not knockable, the moment the ultimate runs out, all the extra damage that the player received while they were in that invincibility state gets applied to that player instantly, meaning if you do inflict enough damage on the enemy to knock them, they'll simply get knocked after the ultimate gets used up. Even if that is the case, however, this ability still seems very powerful. I'm guessing Respawn's going to be making some tweaks to this because I definitely don't see a lot of pro players being very happy with something like this coming in the game. But with all that being said, let's go over Uplink's passive. It's called Network Communion. Gain 25% of recovery effects used in signal range. I'm guessing perhaps if your teammates are within a certain range of you and they use a healing item, you might be able to get 25% of that healing. So let's say they use a battery next to you, you might get 25% shields. That's my personal take on how this ability works, but of course without more info, it really is hard to nail down exactly how this passive works. Anyways, let's move on to the next legend, who is Scryer. Now, I'll quickly go over his tactical and his ultimate because both of these, while powerful, are not the exact thing that I want to go over in this video. So for his tactical, it's Optical Haunt. Parasite trap that reveals the target's vision. I'm guessing this basically shows you up on screen what the enemy can actually see. So I guess it's kind of useful if you're trying to hide from the enemy. But anyways, let's move on to the ultimate. Unleash a creeping wall of darkness that blocks sight and blinds enemies. But anyways, let's move on to the passive because this is the thing that I feel is completely broken. Passive, Spectator. Automatically optic haunt and spectate your killer. At first glance, it might not seem very powerful because he basically doesn't have a passive the entire game until he dies. The thing is though, after he dies, he becomes extremely useful, especially if you have good communication with your teammates. And you know where good communication really comes in high levels of ranked and competitive gameplay. Imagine a member of your pro team knowing exactly where the enemy team is at all times because he played Scryer and got killed by that enemy team. There's simply so much info that you can give your team. I really do see this as a powerful ability in ranked and competitive gameplay. Once again, I think Respawn will be making some tweaks to this type of stuff before it gets introduced into the game. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and of course, as always guys, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.